in 3, 2,
I
1.
give you guys all props for, for you, Amanda, and Matthew for finishing school and big accomplishment, and you right around the corner.
Just around the corner.
But I give y'all props, man, because I couldn't do that shit.
You could have done it.
School was not for me, man. That's what I'm saying. I know I could have.
And
but
here's
what I mean is, like, it's not for me because I hated school.
Yeah.
No, but even that,
and people would be like, you work and you sit through all this stuff, and then I've learned a lot. It's
at least
like
you're getting paid for it, though, right?
But that's my thing. Yeah. Like, motherfuckers are paying me for it. You know what I mean?
And it's an investment to college, right? That's the main thing it is. My whole thing of that, before I don't want to go on a huge rant, so if I start rambling and going on my rant, you guys pull me back in. But you're starting right now. No, but I hear it from everybody. It's not just me, but like you said, you're giving shout out to me, Mandy, Jonathan. Me and Mandy finished school. Jonathan's right around the corner. An awesome thing. We have family members who finished. I know, have a lot of friends who finished, and people, especially people from like the old school, like Dad and all our uncles and theos and people who didn't graduate. They always give you the props, like, "Hey, man, congrats! That's so awesome. You went to school." Yeah. They do it because they probably see the benefit of having a degree in the workforce. Yeah. It is, right? It's if you're trying to get up, move, and get promoted, everybody more or less now is at least putting it in their description, required bachelor's degree or this X amount of years of relevant work experience. Yeah. So they say for that. But my whole thing, and me and Jonathan talked about this before, so I go rambling, get my back on this, bud. But I really don't see the too much hype in school, I don't think it's one of these things where you should definitely feel proud of accomplishing something, but like you were saying, I couldn't do it. Dude, you could have easily done it. All you got to do is just stay on top of your, There's this misconception that when you come out of college, you did these 4 years, now you're like this super smart guy. It's like, no, man, really, in reality, most people, all they did was just they were able to turn their homeworks in on time. And they were able to at least get a C on their exams.
They were able to accomplish a task.
Yeah,
that's the one thing that I do see. Like I've seen you guys, and Matthew. Now that you're like been working the last couple of years, I've seen it, and even in talking to you, or when I've gone over and you're there working. I think the one thing that college truly adds benefit to is you're being prepared for task and organized, right? And, having to stay on top of that stuff as opposed to if you go straight into the workforce like me. I fucking started working when I was in high school, senior in high school. I started working pretty much full time. My scenario was way different, but, started working full time. So to where I'm at now, I think I could have, even though I had those first 4 years that I didn't go to college that I was working full time, I think had I not worked and gone and got my, bachelor degree at that fourth year or fifth year, whenever I came out of college, I would have been way more prepared for, what work life was all about. And I'm not saying that I wasn't, obviously with working those years that I did kind of help grew me into learning that. But I think out of college, if what I'm saying is if you compared someone coming straight out of college to someone straight out of high school, they can be the hardest damn worker in the world. Yeah. But I think that college person's definitely going to be way more prepared as far as like, all right, what are my tasks? Let me prioritize some things, and I'm going to tackle it the way I did tackle my exams, my homework, things like that. Because you have to be self-sufficient in college, right? No one's going to be there pinging you, hey, make sure your assignment's turned in on time. You kind of even lose that from your parents, right? Your parents aren't going to be there like they were through
especially if you moved out or something, right?
Especially if you're somewhere else. No one's there, you're on your own. It's like you're working, just like in the workforce. No one's going to be there waking your ass up to go to work. That you have to do that. You have to be self-sufficient in that aspect, responsible. All that stuff comes with it. And I think in college, you start doing that when you're 18. You have to stay on top of your stuff. And that has to come from you, no one else.
And I agree with what you're saying, right? Coming out of college definitely does give you some sort of it prepares you for life in a way too. But like you said, someone coming out and going right into the workforce, it does it as well. It depends on the person, I think. Yeah. But the point I was going to try to make right now is that there is a difference between eloquence and intelligence, right? Eloquence being like, you may sound smart, and that's what college does. It exposes you to all these professors, to all these classmates who when they speak, they sound intelligent. You had to learn how to speak a certain way if you're going to get through college. You got to learn how to read things a certain way. You got to learn how to network a certain way. And those are all good things, because that's what you take over into the workforce, right? Yeah. Especially if you're looking for like an office desk job where you're actually in the office, you're not going to try to go be a blue collar worker right after work. Because I mean, we've talked about this before. When I got out of college, I was like, hey, dude, I think, especially when I was trying to get in the energy business, I was like, man, Mike, I think I want to get into like the shop and all that. And you're like, dude, like, you just got out of college, use that, and you should try to get into the office.
It's not a knock to anybody in the shop. I mean, honestly, for those that don't know anything about me, I started off working in a shop as a mechanic. Yeah. Started off in a warehouse. Shout out my Uncle Eddie, giving me my first real job.
Eddie, we love you.
But then I moved on. Dad got me a job there at Rolls Royce, and that's kind of where my career started and took off. But for the first 8 years of my working career, I was a shop guy, right? Had tools, turning wrenches, getting dirty.
And it had its benefits, though.
And it had its benefits.
Well, because now you know the equipment, so you know the product.
To me, it's, and it's not a not, I'm not saying that, hey, only uneducated people. By no means am I saying that. There is people with degrees, with mechanical engineering degrees that work field service, that work in the shop. Some people that get business management degree and they run shop operations and they just enjoy the shop environment. They enjoy manufacturing, right?
Yeah, and those guys might be the
nothing wrong with it. But in your particular case, I think you were looking at it as like, man, I got to start from the very bottom to learn. And I told you, well, you went to school. I know the energy, oil, and gas division is where your heart is, because you had already at that time started talking about, I want to, wanted to be in the medical field, but then you kind of wanted to start transitioning into the energy business. Yeah. So I told you, hey, man, like, I think it's good, but there's roles for you, man, where you can learn just as much if you apply yourself, and you don't have to necessarily start from the bottom, because the difficult thing in working in the shop is, the hours are all over the place, right? So, shop guys, and most of them will tell you, they get the kick and overtime as possible, right? Because your hourly rate is time and a half. You work over 12 or work Sundays, it's double time. So these guys put in enough overtime, they're easily making 6 figures a year, right? Yeah. So that's where it is. So like I was telling you, the studying, and I know you wanted to pursue your go get that master's or whatever it is that you were thinking about doing. I said, hey, you can't have both. There's just no way. You're never going to get any rest. Working in the shop, you can't just say, hey, I got a degree, but I want to work here to learn, but I'm leaving at 3 every day. Like, no, when you're here, your ass is theirs, and it's from 6 to 7, 6 to 8, whatever those hours are. So I told you, man, like, and I think right now you're in a good position, in a position where you're growing and you're getting all that information, and you still have the time, and I'll give you the props, because you've studied a lot, and just talking with you, the equipment pretty good, and still, all of us have a lot to learn, but you have the time, working this job that you have, you're lucky that you have the time to study and all that. But again, that has to come from you. Not everybody's that. Everybody likes to punch in and out, and they're cool. And hey, shit, I'm not gonna hate on them, man. If that's your thing, once you leave work at work, cool. Yeah. But yeah, I think.
Well, no, man, I appreciate that. Honestly, I really do. And in hindsight, and I still think of it the same way. I think today is when I was talking about going into the shop. It wasn't so much, because I think like a lot of people do see it as the bottom, right? Like if you have a lot of entry-level shop mechanic guys kind of doing scrub work pretty much, right? I mean, like you told me your first job, a lot of the time they had you sweeping floors sometimes but my thing was like, I see that, and a lot of people say it's starting from the ground up, but I see that almost kind of like inverted almost, where you just get such a wide range or wide scope, right? Like your view of the whole industry, I feel like you can get a really good view. Of course, you're going to have your specific jobs and stuff, but even like the position I'm at, the reason why I like it a lot right now is because of the same reason, because I'm able to kind of see things from 3,000 miles up a little, because I see how everything's kind of getting connected. Whereas if I came right out of college, got a specific position, I'm already tailoring myself into a certain role, Whereas here you can kind of feel out more or less what you like, learn different aspects of the business. So going back, that was my, looking back in hindsight, that was kind of my mindset when I was looking into that. But yeah, man. But yeah, just going back to what I was trying to say real quick before I get too off topic, the whole eloquent versus intelligent things. You were saying some of the shop guys who, never really get into the office. Those are some of the smartest guys I've talked to, though. They might not be able to
You know, a lot like, you know, not to cut you off again, because I know exactly what you're going to talk about. And when we mentioned it, right, some of the smartest guys, like I'm a project manager, right, in the energy division. So my thing day to day is managing gas turbines and making sure that customers' equipment's ready to rock and roll when they get called to run. So I'm like their bitch pretty much as far as, you know, whatever they need.
I feel like everybody in this business, you're somebody's
bitch
energy,
at some point. Oil and gas, you're somebody's
exactly.
bitch, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that, you know.
That's just part of it. It comes with
most of my customers have been pretty cool. You know, I know what they expect, and we've got pretty good relationships. But no, when you know, my job, I know technically some
you have see before I cut you off really quick, I'll let you get right back to it, because you were talking about, you know, some of those shop guys are the smartest guys, because there's almost like a two-fold way of like the knowledge. It's like a practical knowledge, and then like a, I guess you'd call it a theoretical knowledge, where you're just kind of book smart, you know how to execute a task, you know how to talk to people. And some of those shop field service guys, smartest guys, they know the equipment, they know how to fix it. That's what you'd call that practical knowledge. They have that, but they probably don't know how to relate it.
And most of these
guys... But
just
just real quick before I get, because you gave me a compliment, I'm going to return the favor. You have both, though, man. You have that practical and that theoretical, able to speak. So I just wanted to kiss your ass really quick. I'll let you go back on what you were saying.
Keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
Just kidding. No, I mean, I appreciate it. Yeah, a lot of times, like I was saying, is, you know, those are my guys that I go to, like technical services and field services. I have pretty good relationships with them, man. You know, when we go to site, you know, I'll take them out to dinner. We bullshit. I've known these guys for a long time. They would come out to the shop when we would get, you know, overloaded with work, and we'd call in field service to come from, you know, most of these guys don't live here in Houston. They're somewhere else, you know. A lot of our guys are from Ohio, Midwest area. So I've built a lot of relationships over them with the years. So now as a PM, I get these guys to go do certain tasks, you know, support outages at customer sites. So they know me pretty good. We get along really well. But yeah, I mean, these are the smartest guys. The one thing that they don't have, and they'll be the first ones to tell you, is they don't have soft skills for shit, right? Soft skills meaning
people skills almost.
People skills at all. Like
what's that scene from Office Space, right?
Well, engineers are not good with doing people.
Yeah. So what do you say you do here? He's like, God damn, I got people skills.
So these guys, you definitely wouldn't put them in front of a customer, right, to give a presentation or anything. They'll be the first ones to tell you, fuck that. That's not my job. My job is to turn wrenches and know the equipment, which they do. They know it better than most damn engineers that sit in an office, right? Not only do they know the equipment, but they know fucking their little tricks on how to make things work. That's not in a manual anywhere, right? It's just years of knowledge that they've, just years of experience, right? Doing stuff, troubleshooting things. But yeah, I mean, you know, those guys have a shitload of technical knowledge, but again, and I'll tell them first off, like, I wouldn't put you in a damn customer meeting if my life depended on it.
Man.
And then they'll tell you, like, if your
I
life
wouldn't want you
on
to.
it, I wouldn't want you to call me.
I wouldn't want to be in that anyways.
You know, they'll tell you, well, you're fucked if your life depends on me giving a presentation. You know, things like that.
And it goes back to that.
But, you know, bottom line, you know, what I really want to say is all this talk, you know, fuck work. You know.
In an ideal world, Ro, would you be in the energy business? Like, well, see, okay, I don't, without throwing anybody in
an ideal world, the energy business has been really damn good to me. You know, I just had my anniversary with Siemens.
Well, I salute to you, man. I salute.
April 1st,
Make it
13 years. So.